what's up, my people? It is the showstopper, Mr. Leopard, and today I'm happy to just exchange wisdom, knowledge, and information with you like we have always done. So today, I'm glad to talk about the candidature of one REUBEN Kigame. He's a guy who's thrown his heart in the ring and he wants to run for president of the Republic of Kenya. He's a great guy, a guy for whom I would easily remove my heart and say, guy, you have done so much, you have conquered so much, you have overcome so many odds to get where you are. He's been a media owner, a media presenter before. He has been an evangelist for the longest, a teacher of the word, occupying the space of apologetics. A guy who is well-schooled, masters in communications, and now PhD material. So he's a great guy, I would think. He's a breath of fresh air. And I watched him on Citizen TV with Trevor Mbija just the other day, and I was just trying to understand where he's coming from, where he is and where he is going. And there were a few takeaways for me, which I think I would be happy to reflect with the people. But I believe that given that he's a studious guy who values and appreciates knowledge, he should be able to take this information in strides. And I believe that it will be essential for his campaign in particular. And as I listened to his show, there were certain things that made me very happy and a few things that made me a bit uncomfortable. So number one is his philosophy, his personal philosophy, his perspective of the political landscape and the political realities, governance and leadership and all that. So I am happy with his prescription, with this paradigm about leadership, with his paradigm about governance, with his perspectives about how politics should be done. When we talk about politics being a dirty game, and he clearly says that it's not a dirty game, it is dirty people who actually make politics look dirty. So to the extent that he is able to define what is ideal, that is great, and what good leadership is supposed to be and how governance should be done. To that extent, I am happy. But there is a perspective of his philosophy that I do not agree with, or at least I think that it is not going to do him good. If anything, it might take him off the tangent and much further away from the tangent. So let me explain it with a little simplicity. I would have to explain the proverbial story of the children of Israel coming from Egypt to the promised land. There was something that was synonymous with that journey. There was something that was consistent all the way, that these fellows kept complaining and whining at the slightest provocation, that every hurdle they faced, they would cry. Every hurdle and challenge that they faced, every obstacle, they would mourn at Moses and say, why did you bring us this far to come and die in this desert? And he will say, take us back, take us back. Moses goes to the mountain to take the 10 commandments. Before he comes down, he finds these people have already forced Aaron to make a calf for them and to start a journey back to where they came from. Even the modern and the traditional preacher does not understand nothing about that. But as a psychologist, there is something that I would like to bring into the equation. That these are people who are coming from slavery. At the beginning of the journey, God tells Moses that I would have taken them through a straight path. But God feared that these fellows would encounter battle along the way and they would retreat. So God had to take them the longest journey, which was safest. It was much longer, but it was as much as possible away from confrontation, away from battle, away from war. Why? I speak to you like a psychologist. And I'm speaking to my elder brother, REUBEN Kigame. And if he does not think that I'm grown enough to be able to tell him about that thing, I am just sending him to the same university where he teaches communication to go and tell the professor that he respects in the area of psychology, and tell him that I have said these things, and let the professor break it down to him. It is this simple, that are people who have been brutalized, are people who've been beaten down, are people who've been stripped of their dignity, do not think the way REUBEN Kigame is thinking. Are people who've been enslaved in Egypt, who have been brutalized by their masters and by their oppressors, have their self-esteem ripped away from them, have their identity ripped away from them. They have their self-concept and their motivation for life stripped away from them. If anything, they adore their oppressors. They adore and worship their oppressors. They follow their abusers for one reason. They are so powerless hopeless that the only symbol and image of power that they know is their oppressor. And they still gravitate towards their oppressor, if not for any other reason, is for the knowledge of the power that they wield. And the fact that their hopelessness has been so exploited that their oppressors make them believe that they are still their savior. So they create a crisis for humanity and then come back to solve it, and they become heroes for doing so. Joseph Stalin in Russia was addressing parliament, and he was speaking to his party and his party members, and he was teaching them a lesson on how to govern stupid people. I will replace the word stupid with brutalized people, or oppressed people, or enslaved people, which I submit to you, my brother Reuben Kigame, is 70% of the population of Kenya. Poverty has stripped us naked, but our leaders have also exploited that poverty to strip us so much more naked that we look up to them as our saviors and heroes after they have done little things to us, exactly like Joseph Stalin did, who took chicken. And I know that Reuben Kigame is a student of philosophy. You should be able to buy this. He plucked off the chicken feathers, all of them, and left the chicken alive but naked. And despite the much pain that he was feeling, Joseph Stalin took some seeds, grains of wheat, and began dropping it at the chicken. And the chicken continued following him, almost worshiping and adoring him. My brother Reuben Kigame, I submit to you that this is a fact that you do not appreciate about the Kenyan person. So I listen to you on TV, and much of the time you are asking, how come people have been recycling all these leaders all through, and when they are offered with alternatives like myself, they would not make that choice? And it is the speech that I have heard all over the place, people asking the same. Reuben, what is important to me is for you to understand the reason as to why these people are as surprising as they are. They have been impoverished by their system. The colonialists systematically stripped us of our identity, stripped us of anything and everything that was valuable to us, that was our self-concept, to the extent that we were so hopeless. They took away much of our wealth. You know very well that the Western powers are actually the ones that have taken advantage of our wealth, enslaved our people for 400 years. They are out there. You know about them. But the fellows who inherited and brought us independence going forward, they exploited the same strategies because they were working for them. And so our people have been indignified. They have been made IDPs. They have been made squatters. They have been made poor, jobless. I want to believe that forces have systematically destroyed our industries. Our milk industry has been destroyed. Our sugar industry has been destroyed. Our cotton industry, and agriculture in general has been destroyed. But you know what? All these things are destroyed to make it possible for certain barons to be able to import maize and to import sugar and make the necessary profit, as opposed to sacrificing and let that little profit go and feed that community in the areas that grow the coffee, that grow the tea, that grow the potatoes, that grow the vegetables, grow the sugarcane and the coffee. My point is that I want you, my brother, to understand that our people have been so brutalized that they do not have what it takes in them to be able to see that they are able to emancipate themselves by choosing the options that we have, including Reuben Kigame. And so I was almost getting disappointed with your show, except that at the tail end of it, you gave me what I was looking for. You are able to inspire. You are able to tell the people, let's do this. Let's do this. And you kept saying it when you are hearing feedback and a few people, telling you nice things. And you will say, come on, let's do this. Let's do this. Now, that is what Joshua and Caleb did. Okay, so my simple charge to him is that I would like him to deliberately and intentionally spend more time to focus on inspiring the people as opposed to criticizing them. I want him to challenge the people and inspire them and tell them on what is good about them and what is good in them that they need to find, as opposed to making himself the good. Now, this is what I mean. Joshua and Caleb are the ones responsible for the quote that we usually use, milk and honey. Why? Because while the people complained and said that the land devours its people and that they look like grasshoppers before them, Joshua and Caleb told the people that let us not be afraid. We are well able to conquer them. Let us go after them as long as we do not go against God. And then they also say that the land was exceedingly good. So there was reason for us to go. But then he told the people, he charged the people that they were well able, to conquer the battle, that they are well able to win that particular contest, and that it is worth it. The land is flowing with milk and honey. So I want Reuben Kigame to get this dichotomy, that if you miss everything that I have said, get this dichotomy, that the first thing that I want you to understand is that you, Reuben Kigame, according to your political philosophy, you are the milk and honey. And what I mean is that you are the embodiment of what good governance is, and that is what you are telling the people. But please do not forget to inspire the people and tell them how good they are. Do not forget to tell them how great they are. Do not forget to tell the people what is inside of them. Don't just talk about what is inside of you. Don't just make yourself the pedigree and the yardstick of what is good and what is great. No, tell the people that they are great. Tell the people that they are good. Tell the people that they are capable. Tell the people that they can go after everything that has bedeviled them. Tell the people that they can conquer everything that has been withholding them. Tell the people that they can go beyond the barriers in which they have been stuck all this time. It is only when you inspire these people that they are well able to conquer every impediment and every obstacle and everything that stands in their way. And then you show them what is good, that you are the carrier of the milk and honey, that the land is exceedingly good. The opportunities that you offer, the government that you offer, and what you represent according to your belief, according to your style, and according to what you have proven over time is just this great. But you cannot forget the people, because when I listen to you, most of the time I hear this voice that is trying to say, okay, those guys are big letdown. Those guys are just like a bunch of letdowns, like the leaders and what have you. Now, this brings me to my second point, that there's a difference between control and influence. And I think that Reuben Kigame is coming on the table with the philosophy of control. He is saying that I am the good guy. And when I come on the table, what I am going to do is that I will give you the face of Kenya. I will give you this. I will appoint according to merit. I will do this and I will do that. I will do this and I will do that. Now, that to me, you may not agree with me, but that to me appears like politics of control, whereby you are telling the people that I will come with everything that is good. I will come with everything that is clean. I will come with everything that is suitable, and then I will give it to you. Now, politics doesn't work like that according to me. You may want to tell me that it doesn't have to be that way, but then I would ask, where is the place of influence? The place of influence is whereby you can go and join a team of even bad leaders and then influence them. You can actually find yourself on the table with leaders who do not espouse what you represent yourself, but then through your example, you are able to shape the future, and they are able to look up to you, like Daniel. Daniel was in a pagan world in Babylon, but he and the other three, totaling up to the 4 Hebrew boys, they ended up setting the pace. They ended up influencing the policy of that particular country through their lifestyle and through their example. Remember, they were serving under the king, and Daniel served under different, 3 different kings. But my point is that the king did not have to look like Daniel. Yet, the same king came down to the den of lions and said that let the God of Daniel be worshipped, and anybody who's going to be found worshipping any other God other than the God of Daniel shall be put to execution. So I want REUBEN Kigame to dissuade himself from this philosophy and notion that he is coming with everything cooked and every nice meal cooked, and then he's coming to place it on the table. That ain't gonna take you nowhere. Come with an anticipation that you will, by the way, even if you are elected as president, you will find a legislature that you will need to work with. You will find a judiciary that you will need to work with. You will have a public service that is permanent, that is already in place, actually on default mode for you to work with. So where are you going to import this other breed of Kenyans? From Swaziland or from where? You are not going to import any other set of Kenyans. Sisi ndio tuko. And when I say that, I don't mean that I belong to that club. I mean that those are the fellows that you're going to find anywhere. And you need to ask yourself, how are you going to work with them? You cannot afford to be isolationist. You cannot be isolationist to say that, you know, those guys, they don't look like me, that those guys are not. Isn't that, in fact, what the Bible tells us not to do? Jesus Christ, and as an evangelist, you should get this. I don't need to explain it like I'm explaining to a 4-year-old. Jesus Christ went to Zacchaeus' house. He did not go to tell him that, you know, you guy, you are a tax collector and you have robbed of the people. No, he showed him the example. He told him to come down history and down the tree. And he told him that I'm going to be your guest. I'll be with you today. And he showed him love. He gave him his presence. And he influenced him. And while he accepted to dine together with Zacchaeus, Zacchaeus, without being shurutishwad, said, I am going to turn my ways around. And whatever I have stolen, I am going to give back. Not just once, not even twice, not thrice, but 4 times. It is influence. And what I see Kigame's way of thinking, to me, it presents itself like the philosophy of control. I would rather he comes on board with the philosophy of influence. And in this case, for example, what teams is he working with? Is he just working with this special group of people who are, you know, I don't want to use the word holier than thou, but who are, you know, the right thinking guy, the clean guys, the guys with integrity? Are those the only fellows that he is working with? Are they spread across the country? His volunteers, his team of volunteers, are they in all the 290 constituencies? Are they in all the wards, more than, I don't know how many? Is it 1,500 wards, or is it 1,400 something thereabout? All these volunteers that he's working with, are they spread across all those wards? Because that is the only way he's gonna get to win this particular election. And I'm telling you that you have no choice but to embrace the philosophy of influence as opposed to the philosophy of control. And I am hoping that this information will be a little bit useful. Now, the last thing that I would like to give as advice is the fact that a journey towards a destiny is not defined by one day. It's not defined by 2 years. It is not even defined by 3 years. It is not even defined by 5 years of a cycle. No, Raila Odinga has been at it for, you know, like 5 times, and Apo Katikati he didn't run and all that. But then the agenda has been going, the agenda has been ongoing, and some of the things that REUBEN Kigame enjoys today, including, I don't know whether he's running as an independent. I think when he ran as governor, he was running as an independent. All these things are thanks to these people who are occupying the space, even though they are old, they are tired, and they don't look like what we may think. They may not look like the great guy we are talking about, or the guys with integrity. I mean, I don't refuse that, but that guy is the one responsible to the privileges that we enjoy today, that you can form a political party as easily as it comes, and you can even run as an independent as easily as it comes. So my point is that I hope he is looking at this journey as a long shot. I hope that he is not saying that if it does not happen, then it is not worth it. If it does not happen, then it means I don't have a chance. If it does not happen, then it means Kenyans have not bought my idea. No, he needs to start building a critical mass and then keep growing that political mass, that critical mass, until it becomes a majority. It could happen in one election. It could happen in more than one election. I wish him the best, and I hope that my communique has been resourceful or useful. God bless you all. God bless my elder brother, REUBEN Kigame.